Shalom, Uprezti Hawa, Bashem Yahushua, Bashem Harakal Kadash. The one to the elder apostles, the great millstone of all one. Shalom to the brothers doing the work of certain truth, pushing us word to the four corners. Um, yeah, just saw this and sort of aligned noticeably with the push you've had really since it's ramped up from when Elon announced Neuralink, like 2018. You've kind of had you had I think before that, I know here in the UK at least, they were doing the what's it called, the instead of women getting the pill, they would get an implant where it would release chemicals at set intervals to basically have the same impact. But you've had a ramp up in implants basically that are meant to resolve kind of medical issues and whatnot. And this one just feels more aligned with you know the MOTB where it's going. So it's on the Guardian. It says experts hail remarkable success of electronic implant in restoring sight of 84% of people with form of age related macular degeneration restored after being fitted with the device. This is what an electronic eye implant, half the thickness of a human hair, has helped people with incurable sight loss to see again, opening up a potential new era in tackling blindness. Doctors who implanted the SIM card-shaped prosthetic devices say they have helped many of the 38 elderly patients in the trial regain their ability to read letters, numbers, and words. In the story of artificial vision, this represents a new era, said Mahi Mukwit, a senior consultant at Moorfields Eye Hospital in London, one of the 17 sites involved. He used to actually live not too far from there, funny enough. Yeah, I think Moorfields is one of the more so-called prestigious eye hospitals. But yeah, they're basically, restoring sight with an implant. And these are the kind of the kind of appeal. One, it is having people, kind of look at these things like, oh, this is kind of just how, things are gonna be going forward. Yeah, people are just gonna you might have knobbly knees or a fucking achy shoulder or whatever, and then you'll just get an implant. It's very science fiction as far as people are kind of looking at, and then even with loss of sight, being able to restore sight, that's gonna be seen as a miracle. People can say, oh, saying you guys talking about that Bible, about miracles in the Bible. Technology's doing the real miracles. These people are going to be enthralled of it because they're going to be thinking like, oh, this guy really is God. This guy just out here just bringing, giving people their sight back. It says 38 elderly patients in the trial regain their ability to read numbers. Select letters, numbers, and words. In the history of artificial vision, this represents a new era, said Mahi Mukwit. Blind patients are actually able to have meaningful central vision restoration, which has never been done before. Getting back the ability to read is a major improvement in their quality of life, lifts their mood, and helps to restore their confidence and independence. And yeah, with these things as well, a lot of these things, depending on price and availability and whatnot, can go mainstream, and then it just becomes a normal expectation. And there's a lot of things that kind of, go mainstream, become normal expectations for people, become normal expectations for people. And then what, especially when it comes to that mark, that's one where people that, I say people that are into technology, but even beyond that, really, most people are kind of seeing, because, what is it, Payala always mentions it, they call it, the singularity. Like, it seems, it's like some kind of inevitability that people are going to have to merge with technology in the near future. But that's some shit they made the fuck up. Because even that's the thing is you basically push that kind of mindset for a while. You have to. It's funny. It's like you have to consider a lot of these futurist kind of like novels, stories, etc. They were around before a lot of these technologies were even a twinkling in the eye. Because, like, what was it? It's Metropolis, I believe, was a movie, 1927. And that was about, like, robots and automation. And, in 1927, in World War II hadn't even happened yet. It was like robots and automation would have been like factories, machinery on that kind of level. And not even, like, in a modern day factory now, you see the factories with their footage of in, like, China, where they're making cars, where it's a bunch of, robots just kind of grabbing pieces, putting it together, whatever. Back then that shit wasn't even around. Internet wasn't around. Smartphones weren't around. Those a lot of things not kind of there. That's an aspiration they kind of had. But then, the reality of the matter is a lot of people are what they're just, hooked onto certain technologies. It's like, in reality, if you you know if you go to throw the convenience aside, you can still get around with, like, horses and carriages. It's not like horses and carriages are unable to be used, but obviously everyone's, used to cars. They're faster. There's different levels of convenience. And then even, in the modern age, you get way cheaper, etc. But then, you know, a lot of things in the modern age, people are just looking at it like, as far as, oh, this is just how things had to be. That's why you have, when they're going through history, they have it where it's like, oh, the final form of civilization is a democracy, a republic, representative democracy, which, then you think about how spectacularly politics are failing in the modern day, and just kind of wonder. But it says, well, eye specialists held fitted with an implant called the Prima device. Eye specialists hailed the results as remarkable and said the device could help people with dry form of age-related macular degeneration, the leading cause of sight loss in over 50s. Moorfield said the revolutionary new implant is the first ever device to enable people to read letters, numbers, and words through an eye that had lost its sight. And yeah, the what's it called? That's the thing as well. Is like, with these technologies, you just think about, like, the Black Mirror end game, because the modern what's it called, like, Silicon Valley kind of ideal approach they have towards developing new technologies is, you develop it, you have it cheap and broadly available, so everyone gets used to it, then corner everyone else out of the market by having it the cheapest, the most available in every market. Then once you do that, then just crank the price up and make the product worse. It's like Netflix has been doing that, where once they got the corner of the market, got everyone, they said okay, they took away password sharing, they increased the price, they added the tier that was the cheapest, added ads to it, and then restricted like higher streaming qualities to more expensive ones. So it's same thing with Uber, where back in the day Uber used to be fucking absolutely dirt cheap, but then as they're trying to become profitable, then they offer less. um I mean, well, you have to pay more, and then if you work for them you get paid less, because they're taking more on the margins. And then it's like you have to have a, what do you call it, like car sharing and shit like that as well, like to kind of keep keep it, well, keep the price down. Whereas before it's like you'd have been able to go, so it's like 13 quid for some of them fucking rides, like dirt cheap. Go from like fucking zone 1 to zone 4, Jesus. Good times. um what would it say? The 38 patients all had geographic atrophy with dry AMD. Well, yeah, it's like with this, this is something where, uh, you know, if it was, developed to where this was like, oh, kind of the standard treatment to go for. Most of these companies looking to then crank the price up and make a profit of it, man, because they would have put, millions and whatnot into research for these things. So they want, return on investment. That's the nature of the medical system under ESOL. Uh, with dry AMD, which over time progressively deprives someone of their sight, and for which there is no treatment, most people with the condition lose some of their central vision, and in some cases it progresses to full sight loss as the cells in the macula die and the central macula melts away. So yeah, the macula or whatever is likely the implants just replacing it. But then, these are things where this feeds into Esau being looked at as a god, man. But then you gotta keep it in a, keep a clear view and in remembrance who you're dealing with, man. Sirach 12 and 10, it says, never trust thine enemy, for like as iron rusteth, so is his wickedness. And yeah, anytime you're dealing with these things, that, there's a trap, there's a snare. Because as soon as you hear implant, first thing I'm thinking about is MOTB. And, people in the world are thinking of that. But then a lot of them, they'll have heard about it and just kind of fan the hand. They'll be like, yeah, I'll take that, I'll jump on it. Which, a lot of people will do. But it only really matters for Jake as far as, we're taking these things. It's as though he humble himself and go crouching, yet take good heed and beware of him, and thou shalt be unto him, as if thou hadst wiped a looking glass, and thou shalt know his rust hath not been altogether wiped away. Yeah, that nature's still there. That's really, what we're dealing with. That nature's not been switched up, man. That nature's still there. Because why? This is what a man's job is to do in the modern day. Revelation 20 and 2, it says, and he laid hold on the dragon, that old serpent, which is the devil and Satan, and bound him 1,000 years, and cast him into the bottomless pit, and shut him up, and set a seal upon him. They should deceive the nations no more, till the 1,000 years could be fulfilled, and after that he must be loosed a little season. So he was, sealed to deceive the nations no more. But then what? He had to be loosed a little season. And, a big aspect to that is, this technology. There's, as far as with a smartphone, you know, the way they talk about it is, oh, you know, the way people have their smartphones in their hands, it's like they've merged with technology already. I'm like, no, because you know, I can put this down. I can fly off to France and leave my smartphone at home. You know, it's going to be an inconvenience because there's you know, there'll be a bunch of things that you know become easier with it, but then it's not in any way um you know permanently just attached to you because you know you use it regularly. But you know it's kind of been, oh well, it's just, you know, singularity. You need to just merge with technology. That's the push. But most people are. The thing is because you know, people in the world, they're looking at things as far as like evolution and these things. They're thinking, like, oh, you know, over hundreds of millions of years, you know, just humanity just, you know, developed. So maybe this is the next step, you know. It's like, you know, we're just people, and then, you know, it's like it's time for us to stop being people and become your part machine. And you know, you become like, you know, super and that you can just lift the car with one hand and this, you know, these men are thinking about fucking movies, bro. Men are thinking about becoming Terminator. So they want to be T1, bro. The T1 they want to be lifting up a fucking beetle with one arm, bro. You know. But this, you know, that's the deception. That's part of the deception. That's part of the deceit. That's what got people all enthralled. But yeah, I'll leave it there, man. Shalom, shalom.